Hey there, little historians. Come sit with me because I have the most amazing story to tell you. It's about a queen who loved candy so much, her teeth turned black. Can you imagine? A queen with black teeth. But don't worry, this isn't a scary story. It's actually quite sweet, just like our queen's dreams. Are you ready? Let's travel back 400 years ago to meet Queen Elizabeth I. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in beautiful England, there lived a very special queen named Elizabeth. She had red hair like fire, wore the most gorgeous dresses you've ever seen, and lived in a palace with hundreds of rooms. I bet she needed a map just to find the bathroom. But Queen Elizabeth had a secret. She loved sugar more than anything else in the whole world. Now, you have to understand, back then, sugar was like gold. It was so expensive that only kings and queens could buy it. Regular people ate honey or fruit when they wanted something sweet. But sugar came from far, far away on big ships, and it cost more money than most people made in a whole year. But our Queen Elizabeth, she didn't care how much it cost. She wanted sugar in everything. She ate sugar with her meat. Yes, meat. Can you imagine putting sugar on your chicken nuggets? Sweet chicken. She put sugar in her drinks. She ate candied flowers, which is basically eating bouquets for dessert, and something called marchpane, which was like the world's first candy bar made of sugar and almonds. It probably didn't fit in her pocket like our candy bars, though. Every night, she would promise herself, "This is the last sweet treat." But you know what happened? She couldn't keep that promise. She had 4 magic words that she whispered to all her desserts. Just one more bite. And then, poof, another candy would disappear. Soon, the silliest things started happening around the castle. Royal helpers would open important letters, and sugar crumbs would fall out like snow. The man who helped make laws had to sign papers with sticky fingers covered in candy. Imagine doing your homework with marshmallow hands. And there was this sneaky palace cat who kept finding cake frosting on its whiskers and didn't look sorry at all. That kitty probably thought, if the queen can have dessert for dinner, so can I. The queen's cooks made the most incredible sugar creations. They built entire cities out of sugar. Tiny sugar people, sugar animals, sugar trees. It was like a magical candy land right there on the royal dinner table. Talk about playing with your food. When important visitors came to the palace, Queen Elizabeth would show off her sugar sculptures like they were the crown jewels. Look at my sugar castle. Bet you can't eat yours. But here's where things got really funny. One dinner time, all the queen's beautiful jewels were sparkling next to her food. Diamonds, emeralds, and bright blue sapphires. But then, oh no! One precious sapphire went missing. Everyone searched the whole castle. Where could it be? Well, they found it later, stuck to a piece of sticky toffee. It was glued there like peanut butter sticks to the roof of your mouth. "Who did this?" cried the cooks, waving their wooden spoons. The cakes looked innocent. The toffee couldn't answer because candy can't talk, but everyone knew who the real candy thief was. Through all these sweet adventures, Queen Elizabeth kept smiling at everyone. But smiles can tell secrets, you know. Her smile started getting smaller and more careful, like when you're trying to hide something behind your back. One day, a palace maid whispered to a guard, "Did you notice the queen's teeth?" He said, "Not really. Why?" "They're turning black," she said quietly, "like dark chocolate." But here's where our story gets interesting, my dear friends. You see, 400 years ago, people didn't know what we know now about taking care of teeth. They didn't have toothbrushes like we do. Imagine trying to brush your teeth with a stick. Scrub, scrub, scrub. They didn't have dentists who could help them. Some people cleaned their teeth with cloth and salt, which sounds like the world's worst sandwich. But many people, well, They just didn't clean them at all. Yuck! You know how secrets work in big places? They travel from room to room like little mice. Soon everyone in the castle was whispering about the queen's teeth, but nobody wanted to talk about it out loud. It's like when everyone knows something but pretends they don't. Queen Elizabeth kept eating her sweets and saying her magic words. Just one more bite. But now sometimes when she ate something very sweet, she would touch her cheek because her teeth hurt. Still, she couldn't stop. Then one quiet evening, something happened. Queen Elizabeth was eating a sugared almond. You know, those nuts covered in hard candy. And she heard a little sound. Crack. It wasn't thunder from outside. It was a sound from inside her mouth. One of her teeth had broken. The whole room got very quiet. Even the servants stopped moving. Elizabeth put her hand over her mouth, and her face turned pale. Even that sneaky cat seemed to understand something serious had happened, and looked sorry for the first time ever. The next morning, instead of sweet treats, the queen's breakfast had peppermint tea, a cool cloth for her cheek, and plain water. No sugar anywhere. The royal doctors came to help. They looked at her teeth and said, and oh dear a lot. For the first time in years, Queen Elizabeth didn't say just one more bite to anything. After that day, things started changing in the castle. The huge piles of candy became smaller piles. The smaller piles became tiny treats, and some nights, the dessert plates stayed empty. Queen Elizabeth still liked sweet things, of course she did. We all do. But now she also enjoyed things that didn't hurt her teeth, like warm tea in the morning and feeling better when she woke up. So what do you think happened to Queen Elizabeth's teeth with all that sugar, That's right. They started to turn black and rot away. By the time she was an older queen, her teeth were so black and painful that sometimes she couldn't speak clearly. Some of her teeth even fell out. But here's what our queen did. She didn't let this stop her. You know what she did? She stuffed cloth in her mouth to fill the spaces where her teeth used to be, so she could still give royal speeches. It was like the world's first dental floss, but way more stuffed. And when people from other countries visited, they were actually impressed by her black teeth because they thought it meant she was so rich she could afford lots of sugar. They probably thought, wow, her teeth are so fancy and, dark. Queen Elizabeth ruled England for 45 years. She spoke 6 languages, wrote poems, and protected her country from enemies. Yes, she loved sugar, maybe a little too much, but she kept doing her job as queen even with sore teeth. And you know what this story shows us? Queen Elizabeth was a person just like us. Even queens make mistakes and have problems, but she kept going and kept doing her work. So next time you eat candy or brush your teeth, remember our Queen Elizabeth. Remember that she was a person who happened to love sweets a little too much. And remember to take good care of your beautiful teeth, because now we know how to do something Queen Elizabeth never learned how to do properly. What did you think of Queen Elizabeth's story? Next time, I'll tell you about another amazing person from history who had a very interesting quirk. Make sure to like and subscribe, and definitely come back, little historians, because history is full of the most wonderful, surprising stories. Until next time, keep being curious about the people who lived before us.